वक्रतुण्ड महाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी। विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विषये भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचानूरमर्दनम् देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। साक्षात्कृतं दयानन्दं परमार्थस्वरूपिणम् तत्त्वज्ञानप्रशास्तारम् प्रणतोऽस्मि परं पदम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Sorry, it is too disturbing for you. Let me know. For me, if I cough also, I can do it.
It's not disturbing. You are straining. That's nothing problem for us. It's problem only for you. You can manage. No worries.
No, when I cough, the sound will come.
That's all right. No worries. That's all right. Don't worry about that.
स्वार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनी बद्ध्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी। After some break, We are continuing our Gita class. I don't want to give a long break, that's why I resume my class today. Though my throat is not good, but still want to resume. Otherwise, there will be gap. We'll forget the thread of the discussion. So I'll try to do as much as possible today. Meanwhile, before we take up any other text for study, like this after Tattva instead of doing Kathopanishad, we will do Gita for some time. Then we can take up Kathopanishad. So we will have 2 classes a week, so that we can finish the introduction to Gita and get into the Gita proper. Okay. Now, in the previous classes, we have seen the important qualifications which are required as a part of the adhikari. The important qualifications with regard to pursuing Vedanta. The adhikaritvam is very important in that context. We are saying some qualifications, important qualifications that are classified under the heading sadhana, chatushtaya, sampatti. Sampatti is a wealth. So these are the real wealth, spiritual wealth. These are the important prerequisites for an aspirant to pursue the spiritual journey. For what we listen every class. For that, the shravanam to become fruitful, these qualifications are important. Without these qualifications, any amount of shravanam will not help. But shravanam also helps us to cultivate these qualifications. Because when we do shravanam of Vedanta, we keep repeating the same thing. We talk about these qualifications. And we look at the qualifications from different standpoints and give a different perspective to each qualification from different standpoint. So every time when we listen to this qualification, when we listen to the terms, so it is meant for us to constantly remember and develop these qualifications. That is why it is again and again reinforced. This repeated reinforcement is not a dosha, it's not a defect. You have heard this many times, probably. In Tattvabodha we have seen. In other classes also you would have heard. We talk about Viveka and Vairagya and all. Again we are hearing. So it is not a dosha. It is again and again we are hearing means that emphasis is there. These are important for the final result. For the jnanam to take place, these are important. So that later, after say few years of shravanam, if you complain, the jnanam has not still taken place, you have to check. You have to check back. You have to see how these qualifications are developed in you. How much in terms of quantity and quality, qualitatively developed. The lack of these qualifications result in the lack of jnanam. But these are the jnana sadhanam. Shravanam is jnana sadhanam, but shravanam to take place, these qualifications should be there. Therefore, that is why in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also, the 13th chapter, He classifies all these qualifications as jnanam itself. He gives the status of jnanam to all these qualifications. So that is why we are emphasizing this, and that is why I also spent some time discussing these qualifications in detail, so that those who are not familiar with these qualifications, they will come to know, and also those who are familiar, for them it will be a reminder. So with this background, we will get into the topic. So, sadhana chatushtaya sampatti, fourfold spiritual qualifications, spiritual disciplines, spiritual wealth. In that we have seen Viveka. Viveka is the first qualification. Viveka we have discussed in general and particularly with reference to Vedanta. Viveka means discrimination. In the context of Vedanta, it means discrimination, discriminating the real and the unreal things. Understanding, having clear understanding, distinctive understanding of what is real and what is not real. Because there is always a mix-up of taking the unreal for the real and real for the unreal. But the anyonya overlap of these two things is there in our perception. So that is the result, that is the problem of all the confusion and the consequent problems. So therefore discrimination is important. So once you have the clear discrimination by vichara, by inquiry, the inquiry could be a general inquiry, or could be an inquiry with, or an inquiry could in line with the Shastra. If you come under the Vedika Parampara, the inquiry will be in line with the Shastra, Vedika. So that is the first qualification, Viveka. Once Viveka is developed, it is established in you, then the Viveka will lead to Vairagya. You know what is real and you know what is unreal. The Viveka Buddhi is there. Once you develop the Viveka Buddhi, then you will not pick up what is unreal. So you will drop the unreal and you will go for real. But going for real, it has got another name, that is called Mumukshutva. That is what is real is. So I want that real thing. So you move away from what is not real. That is Vairagyam, and go towards what is real. That is Mumukshutva. The Mumukshutva is the last qualification, is going to come. We will see that. Now, this Viveka, it leads to Vairagyam. Vairagyam is, you drop that which is not real. That is not going to help you in your pursuit. So that is Vairagyam. And what is the cause of Vairagyam? Viveka. Viveka is the cause of Vairagyam. And we saw Vairagyam, it means objectivity. That is the best translation for the word Vairagyam. So Vairagyam means dispassion, desirelessness, but being objective to the person, to the objects, to the situations in life, without coloring it with our perception, with our ideas. That is called Vairagyam. Understanding and knowing a vastu, an object, as it is, without coloring with our ideas, our perception. That is called objectivity. So being objective, that is Vairagyam. So Viveka, the first qualification, and that Viveka leads to Vairagyam. So these two qualifications we have discussed, And now today we will take up the next qualification, which is the Samadhi Shatka Sampattihi. Samadhi Shatka Sampatti. This is the third qualification, which itself consists of 6 qualifications, 6 disciplines. Shatkam means a group of 6. A group of 6 is called Shatkam. The group of 6, which starts with Sama. Sama Adi. Adi means that which begins with Sama. So Sama is the first qualification in the group of 6, and that is called Samadhi Shatkam. And that is also a Sampatti, the wealth. So if Sama is the first qualification, then what are the other qualifications? Shama, Dama, Uparamaha, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhanam. Shama, Dama, Uparama, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhanam. These are the 6 qualifications in the group of 6. So now we will take up one by one and discuss what it means. What it means and what are the significances of these qualifications and how to develop these qualifications. So that will be the discussion now. The first qualification is Shamaha. Shamaha literally means Shanti. The word Shamaha, it is derived from the verbal root Sham. From the same verbal root only Shanti. Shanti, that also derived. So Shamaha means Shanti, peace. Peace of what? Peace of the body? No. Peace of the mind. So Shama itself implies mind, the composure of the mind, that Manashanti, mental peace, that inner composure. That is what is indicated by the word Shamaha. So to come to pursue Vedanta, to listen to Vedanta, we must have Shama, some amount of inner composure is required. When your mind is disturbed, then Shravanam cannot take place. When your mind is somewhere else, then Shravanam cannot take place. If your mind is filled with fear, anxiety, worry, any other disturbances, then Shravanam will not take place. Therefore, it is the important qualification. And Shama is defined as Mano Nigraha. Mano Nigraha. Manasaha Nigraha. That is, you have mastery over mind. Mastery over mind is called Shamaha. The word Shama is translated in some books as mind control. Really speaking, it is not control. Swamiji doesn't appreciate this translation, control. Nigraha doesn't mean control. Why we say that? When you say control, I have to control the mind. I must control the mind. It means the mind is something like a bull which has to be tamed. So the bull is rebellious. So the mind is also rebellious. And there is a war between the mind and you. So I have to control the mind. When you say I have to control the mind, then some sort of enmity is developed between the mind and you. That inimical attitude, it comes when you say I want to control the mind. Already we have so many people outside who create problems for us every day, and we have to deal with them. In addition to that, why should I fight with my mind also? That becomes another problem. That fighting attitude is not good for Vedanta people. This fighting attitude, it creates disturbance, disturbance in the person. Therefore, instead of make instead of making your mind as your friend, by controlling, you are making it so mean. You are making it a slave to obey you. Mind need not be a slave, can be a good friend. For that, you don't have to control the mind. So, what you have to do is, you have to tap the potential of the mind for your spiritual growth. That is why we translate Shava as mind management or mastery over mind. Therefore, Mano Nigraha, it means making the mind available for the pursuit. That is what is Mano Nigraha. The availability of the mind. The mind should be available at your disposition. That is called Shamaha. In fact, this is a very good definition. Rather than translating it as the mind control, the mind should be available with me all the time to my disposition. So that is Shama. So therefore, don't put your mind in stress. Let the mind be free from stress. Let the mind be free from any mental strain. So when the mind is free from mental stress, then it is available to you for your Shravanam, Vedanta Shravanam. So making the mind freedom from any mental stress, that is Shamaha. And this is what everybody wants. Everybody wants a stress-free mind. So nobody wants to wants or to enjoy the mind which is burdened with stress. Therefore, if you want stress-free mind, then don't stress the mind by controlling it. The more you try to control the mind, the more it will become rebellious. So instead of trying to understand the mind, we just want to control the mind. That is not correct. Understand the ways of the mind and try to manage it instead of controlling it, instead of suppressing it. Mind is an instrument. As an instrument, the mind should be available for me to operate. Mind is like a car. You know the controls of the car. So once you know the controls of the car, you can drive it safely on the road. So the proper steering takes you to the right direction you want to go. Similarly, the mind is also like a car. So know the mechanism of operating the mind. Not knowing the mechanism of operation, if you steer the mind will not help us. More than helping, it will damage our life. Therefore, the problem is not with the instrument as such. The problem is with the operator of the mind. If the operator knows the nuances, then the mind allows the operator to enjoy inner peace. Mind allows the operator to enjoy stress-free mind. Therefore, mind being an instrument and making the mind available as an instrument, it is called Shama, which is an important qualification. And some people, they think Mano Nigraha, it means to stop the mind. To control the mind means to stop the mind, from functioning. Mano Nigraha doesn't mean to stop the mind. It doesn't mean to still the mind. It doesn't mean to make the mind non-functional. Mind is meant to function. Mind is meant to entertain continuous thoughts. Therefore, Shama is not absence of thoughts. Shama doesn't mean stilling of thoughts or stopping the thoughts. In fact, it is not possible. Bhagavan did not give the mind to permanently shut down its operation. If mind is to be permanently shut down or repetition, to be destroyed, then why did Bhagavan give it? Bhagavan did not have given the mind. Therefore, we don't say Mano Nasha. We don't say Mano Nasha. We don't have to destroy the mind. There is no destruction of the mind. The mind is being an instrument, it is only for management. Mind is meant to think. Mind is meant to achieve our Purushartha. You think, plan, and achieve your Purushartha. So it's a beautiful instrument given to human beings by Bhagavan. And especially human beings have a refined, sophisticated mind. Therefore, the mind need not be cursed. Why Bhagavan has given me the mind? Having the human mind is a privilege. Because of the faculty of the mind, I am able to feel the emotions. I have cognition. I am able to pursue Vedanta because I have mind. Therefore, first we must appreciate the mind as an instrument. The mind should not be taken for granted, nor should not be looked upon as something which causes problem. Mind is meant for knowing, understanding, thinking, remembering, and also to entertain emotions. Mind is a seat of emotion as well as a seat of knowledge. That is why we have emotional mind, a cognitive mind, and a recollecting mind. The mind is a word we use in English, but in Sanskritam, we say it is antakharanam. Because the mind is instrumental in knowing, not only in knowing, understanding, thinking, remembering, decision making. It does fourfold functions. That's why in Sanskritam it is called antakharanam, inner instrument. So without the antakharanam, without the mind, an individual cannot know, cannot think, cannot know, cannot decide. So all these functions will come to still without antakharanam. In fact, all the sense organs, like eyes, ears, and other senses, as well as the sense organs of action, they also function only with a backup, only when being backed up by the mind. Without mind backing up the sense organs, the senses will not function. Therefore, mind is an antakharanam. If it is an antakharanam, can the mind really bother you? It should not bother you. When you say I am bothered, my mind is bothering me. It is really speaking the person who is bothered, not the mind. Mind being an instrument, it is not that really bothers you. The mind seems to play a certain role by creating emotions like fear, worry, anger, anxiety. These emotions are not for the mind, it is for the person. Mind reflects what the person feels. Mind is just a reflection of the emotion of the person. If the person is afraid, therefore there is an emotion called fear, and the mind expresses the fear of the person. The very operator of the mind is in fear. Therefore, the mind plays the role of being in fear. It presents to the operator that I am in fear. The same for anxiety, hatred, and other emotions. So, the mind is like the pen writing in blue colors. When you pour blue ink to the pen, the pen will write in blue color. Similarly, with what you fill the mind reflects that. Therefore, in understanding every emotion of the mind, you must include the person who is behind the mind. Generally, what we do is we exclude the person. We exclude the person and blame the mind. That is not correct. Any emotion, what I have is myself. It is not mind. What I feel, the mind lets me know. The mind reflects and lets me know what I feel. Therefore, let us not whip the mind for all our issues. You don't have to whip the mind, you don't have to whip yourself. It is too harsh. The mind being an instrument, it is always good. When you feel good, the mind presents a feeling of good for you. When you are in fear, the mind presents the feeling of fear. The mind presents what you are. When you are in anxiety, the mind presents the condition of you. It is just a presentator. It is just the presentator. The mind doesn't compose its own script. You have the script in the form of emotions. That is a person. That is a basic person. The mind, what it does is, it presents a script to your attention. It brings the script to your attention. It lets you know what emotions you have now. So once you know, once the mind presents the emotion, you being the composer of the script, whether to follow the script or you want to rewrite the script, that is your choice. That is purely your free will. When you become agitated, the mind becomes agitated. When you become angry, the mind seems to be angry. So the very fact that you can feel emotion itself shows the mind is not you. The mind just gives you an indication of what you are now, and it gives a warning that those emotional areas are to be addressed immediately. But what we do generally is, instead of attending to the problem, we whip ourselves and whip the mind too. That is called mind mismanagement. Therefore, Shama means paying attention to the mind, addressing the problem of the mind, so that mind is not in problem. So addressing the problem of the mind means you are addressing the problem of the person, so that the mind is available for your pursuit. Therefore, understanding the mind and maintaining the tranquility of the mind for the Vedanta pursuit is called Mano Nigraha. Mind, I said, is an instrument. It's an antakaranam. If an instrument means, it doesn't mean that it is a mechanical thing. It is, in one way it is, but mind is as though conscious. Though the mind doesn't have consciousness of its own, but it has borrowed consciousness. Borrowed consciousness from the person who is Chaitanya Swarupa. Therefore, mind seems to be conscious, seems to be intelligent. Therefore, when the mind is conscious, intelligent, the responses of the mind, the reaction of the mind for any stimulus, it should not be mechanical. If there are certain mechanical or immediate responses of the mind, then what we have to do is we have to convert that response into a conscious response, making the reactive mind into an active mind. Active mind means the conscious response. You respond to the situations consciously, not just react. For that, the mind should be available with you, and that is called Shama. Responding to situation consciously without any reaction is Shama. And once you have this Shama, once you have certain restrictions over your emotions at the mental level, then that Shama, it will manifest at the physical level also. If the mind is calm, then you are calm, your body is also calm. So the mind, which is well managed, which is available for you and for your disposition, if it is when it is free from stress and strain, that will reflect at all the levels. It will reflect at the Sukshma level, it will reflect at the gross level also. So you become a calm and composed person because you are well managing the mind. You are a Shami. Shamaha tasya asti iti Shami. So that is why for the person to listen to Vedanta, the Shama is emphasized as the first qualification in the Samadhi Shatkam. Because it is Samadhi Shatkam, this third qualification, it mainly deals with yourself. It deals with the instrument or your the personality, what you have to develop for listening to Vedanta. So it starts with Shama. In the Vedanta Sara, you will find the definition of Shama as Shamastavat Shravanadi Vitirikta Vishayebhyaha Manaso Nigragaha. This definition of Vedanta Sara is more Vedantic. Since we are all pursuing Vedanta, we are listening to Vedanta, but the definition is more Vedantic and it's applicable to us. Shamastavat. What Shama is? Shravanadi Vitirikta Vishayebhyaha. Not allowing the mind to brood over objects other than Shravanam, other than listening to Vedanta. It is called Shama. In fact, this definition is more appropriate for Vedanta students. In general, definition is Mano Nigraha. But with specific to Vedanta, it is Shravanadi Vitrikta Vishayebhyaha. Not allowing the mind other than listening to Vedanta. It means what? 24/7 you listen to Vedanta Shravana. Vedanta Shravana means not literally always listening. It means you entertain what you studied, what you listen, and you practice what you listen. That is what is Shama is. Not allowing the mind to go anywhere it wants. Making the mind focused on a particular topic, on the particular pursuit. That is called Shama. And now, what is the significance of this Shama, this particular quality? As I said, Shama means Shanti. If Shama is not there, Shanti will not be there. Peace of mind will not be there. Even if Shama is not there, there cannot be even relative happiness in the Vyahara. In the relative world, there will not be even relative happiness. Krishna says in the Gita, Ashantasya kutas sukham, second chapter, 66th shloka, the context of Sutta Prajna Lakshana, he says, if the person doesn't have Shama, how can he have happiness? Even in the Vyavaharika, Sansara, Jivanam, if Shama is not there, even that relative happiness is not possible. When relative happiness itself is not possible, then what to talk of moksha? We are talking about moksha. Therefore, for moksha, we need Shama. And even from the standpoint of your physical health, Shama is required. Because the mind and the body, they are connected. Both are the instruments. One is the Antakaranam, other one is the Karanam. Both are Karanam. So, Antakaranam has to be healthy and Bhakya Karanam also has to be healthy. In fact, many health issues can be attributed to the inner conflicts. Inner conflicts. If you have certain physical problem, then it can be an indicator of certain inner conflict. For example, the life situations are so difficult for you to handle that you feel like sitting on fire. It means then there is a chance that you have piles problem. Certain emotions, what you feel, that manifests in the form of a physical problem. So, either the problems created by the external situations or the internal conflicts, the effects on the body can be seen very clearly in connection with the mind. Therefore, if you maintain a good and a healthy mind by Shama, then you remain balanced, then you have time for yourself, you have time for Vedanta. And the third important significance, which is very important for us, is Shama gives us certain mental time. It makes the mind available for me, for my pursuit. If Shama is not there, then forget Vedanta. Therefore, first we will have Shama, and then Vedanta pursuit will start. In fact, the efficacy of this Vedanta class will be in proportion to Shama. It doesn't mean that you must have 100% Shama. 100% Shama is not possible. 100% Shama, if at all, if it is possible only when we have Atma Jnana. Therefore, some amount of Shama is required. And finally, the Shama, it also helps us to develop other qualities, which is going to come, like Dhamma, Uparamaha, Titiksha. All the qualifications can be developed once we have Shama. So these are the significance of having Shama. And now, how to get Shama? What is the Upaya? What is the means for Shama? First of all, if our mind is disturbed, we must acknowledge the disturbance of the mind. We must acknowledge the emotional reactions of the mind. We should not deny the condition of the mind. Suppose if you are angry, accept that I am in anger. Because the anger is not something which you deliberately detect. It comes, it happens. Similarly, fear also. If you have fear, first you acknowledge, yes, I am in fear. Fear is there, that you acknowledge. Generally, what people do is they have the tendency of denying. They think that denying will solve the problem. But denying will not solve the problem. Because we think we are the only person to have this problem. Therefore, we want to deny it, and we think by denying the problem, the problem will get solved. No, the problem will not get solved. The problem will, in fact, will get worse. Therefore, the first step is acknowledgement. Acknowledging that I have this emotion. I have anger. I am angry. I am in fear. That acknowledgement is the first step to solve the problem. First, you accept that my mind reacts, and that reaction, it comes often. So you have to acknowledge that, and you have to do it without being judgmental. This is important. When you say that the mind has the emotion of fear, as the emotion of the anger, that is acknowledgement. That is acknowledgement. Don't say that I am a chicken-hearted person or I am a fearful person. No, that is judgmental. So without being judgmental, we have to acknowledge any emotions. We should not label it as negative. There is nothing called negative emotions. So when you describe certain emotion and when it creates disturbance, you acknowledge, yes, it is there. Don't label it as negative. So you look at the emotions objectively and surrender. Then you will see Once you acknowledge, then you will have space, certain inner space. And in that inner space, you will see all those emotions as a release of something in the past. These emotions, they always have a background. They just don't come up like that. It has a certain background and it finds a certain time, certain occasion for it to come, to release. So now, when the emotions are released, what you have to do is you have to observe the emotions and see it as a release of some things that happened in the past. Suppressed anger is now getting surfaced and it is now released. So it is a release. Any emotion is nothing but the release of certain experiences in the past. The suppressed frustration is released now. The suppressed anger is released now. It must be released because it is cooker tight. It is so tight, if you don't release it, it will burst one day. Therefore, first you acknowledge without being judgmental, then understand that those emotions are being released, then surrender to Bhagavan, Ishvara. How do you surrender? By acknowledgement. You recognize, you acknowledge that all the emotions, what it comes, what I entertain, it is in accordance with the order. There was certain background for every emotion. That emotion came out now. For every emotion in the mind, there's a background. And when you see the background, then you appreciate the order of Ishvara. So, with the attitude of surrendering, when you look at the mind and see the emotions with objectivity, then you naturally the mind you will have inner space to look at the mind. So here only all our religious practices, the religious life, they come into picture. If you have the background of religious practice, then your bonding with Bhagavan, Ishvara becomes easy. My appreciation of my relation with my Ishta Devata, my Bhagavan, it makes me relaxed. So that remembrance or bringing Ishvara in terms of understanding the background and how the emotions manifest now, that it makes us feel relaxed. So the more the bond you have with Ishvara, the more relaxation you will have. The stronger is the bond, the stronger is the relaxation. The more you will be able to handle the emotions. Handle the emotions means you see the background of the emotions and you see the effect of it now. You understand the emotions. You don't blame yourself. You acknowledge that you will see. You will see then it's all the play of Ishvara. And you can handle emotions very well then. If you can handle emotions, then the mind will become very light and fit for the study of Vedanta. When you handle emotions with this idea of bringing Ishvara and appreciating the Ishvara, the order behind the emotion, then none of the emotions will stay for a length of time. You will not be in anger for a length of time. Anger comes, but when you understand the reason, the background behind the anger, then the anger disappears. Slowly you will find the intensity and also the time for anger to diminish, those things will reduce. It means you have more understanding, you have more shama. And all of the religious practices, your connection with Ishvara, it's all very helpful in handling the mind, handling the emotions. That is why puja, chanting, all these techniques, they're also techniques only, meditation. They're all very helpful for developing shama. Even some people, they go for a walk. For them, it's way of nourishing the mind. So you can do whatever you like and bring the mind back to the normal state. When it crosses, when it goes away from the normal state and bringing back to the normal state in less time, that is called the shama. For that, we can take the help of connecting to Ishvara through various forms of prayers, through various forms of meditation. So we can bring back the mind and make it available for the pursuit of knowledge. That is called Shama. Therefore, Shama is being the first qualification, and since the significance of Shama, as we have seen, is important in terms of developing further qualification, and by leading a religious life, we can have a certain bonding with Ishvara, and that will help you to relax and all the emotions effortlessly, and make the mind available for the pursuit of jnanam. That is Shama, and that is the first in the Shatkam one has to develop. Now, after Shama comes the next qualification, Dhamma. Always Shama comes first, Dhamma comes the next. Because Dhamma means Chakshuradi Bhagyendriya Nigraha. That is the mastery over sense organs as well as the other organs. Other organs means the organs of action. That is Dhamma. For Dhamma to come, we must have Shama first. Because the mind is there behind every operation of the senses. So once the mind is well managed, then the senses can be well managed. And for the spiritual pursuit, both the mind as well as the senses have to be well managed. We should know the nuances of managing the mind and the senses. That is why these qualifications are important. And regarding Dhamma, we will discuss in the next class. I thought of discussing today, but I can't do it now. Sorry. So we'll stop here. It is Shama we did today. So we'll continue Dhamma in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.
Thank you, Sharanji.